Hi, and welcome to Key Technology. Today we're going to introduce you to the new VitiSort. We're going to do a walk around. We're going to show you what things to expect when it comes in the crate and what things to look for when you open the crate up. And we're going to go through a couple of dimensions so that you know what adjustments are available on it, how to plumb and where to plumb the air and the power, and then we'll go over some of the functionality on the user interface. Okay, so here we're going to take a look at the two main service entrances. You have one half-inch airline entrance here. The air consumption is between 15 and 25 SCFM and a minimum of 80 psi. It can go up to 120 psi, but your main air input here, you do have a lockout tagout switch here. Some filtration. So keep that in mind when you're plumbing air to this. You want to deliver clean, oil-free air because that's the air we're going to use to eject the product. Then we also have one electrical service entrance to the main disconnect box here. That is a 220 volt single phase and a 20 amp service, and that's all that's required for the power. Air and power, you're ready to go. One of the very first questions people ask is, how high do I want to set the VitiSort based on equipment already on the crush pad or stuff you're planning? The VitiSort right now is sitting at 68 inches. When you take it out of the crate, it'll be at 74 inches. So at the very minimum, the destemmer has to be a little higher than 74 inches to fit and drop fruit right on this dead plate area. We've lowered it down to the minimum, but there's also quite a bit of adjustment on these legs. You can see all of the holes that we have available to go up a full 20 inches from where it's sitting here. If you decide to raise it from the standard 6-inch height, we have some braces that are recommended that go between it. If you go up above 10 inches elevation, the braces are for stabilizing it at the higher elevations. We've had some people ask, could it go even lower than the setting it is now? And you can take the casters off, but we recommend that you set it. You don't just set it directly on the concrete. You get a nice rubber pad to set them on, because when the shaker starts and stops, it has a little bit of a wiggle, and we want the pad to take up some of that and not the frame and the inspection system on the inside. So now we're going to just cover on the same topic of height installation. You can see that at this elevation, right here we've got 31 inches. So standard Mac bin, I think, is 32 inches high. So that would have to come up just a few inches to be able to fit the standard Mac bin. However, a lot of people are putting must pumps and augers right underneath here. So that's why we mention it, is there's a lot of options for taking the good fruit away from the front of the VitiSort. And we got a lot of adjustment. The standard height it comes at is 34, so you can straight out of the crate put a Mac bin under here and drop fruit straight into the Mac bin. The reject product comes out here, and just some consideration for a bucket or a bin to scrape the mog and the reject material from here into the bin. You can do it on either side, preferably that side. The reject chute slopes to that side, and the user interface is on this side, so there's probably people interacting with the user interface on this side. So now we're going to talk about some of the main features of the VitiSort. After you drop your electrical connection here, there's really only one switch. You turn the main disconnect switch on. All of the inspection system comes up, the computer boots up, the lights come on, and even before the computer boots up, with the twist of the switch here, you can turn the mog shaker on and begin feeding product. A couple of features on the new VitiSort here. Very similar mog shaker that we've had in the past. We'll take another shot so you can see the corrugations. but we've added some MOG and juice recovery updates to the first version. We have a pan that's designed, it's perforated, so juice falls out in several places under the shaker, lands on this main pan, channels back to one port. It's a triclover, 2-inch triclover clamp at the base of the back of the unit over here, but all the juice channels there. The MOG, however, stays on these two screens. This one will drop it onto here, and with a squeegee, you can pull it off into a bucket. You can pull it off onto either side. And that's going to fill up fairly quickly, every half hour at least. An operator should be maintaining this area clear because the juice needs to transfer again through here onto the main pan and down. We also have our user interface module here, which can be adjusted. There is a sun shield that's available for it. It'll come with the unit so that the glare of the sun won't affect the viewing of the screen. But we can adjust it, move it. It's only available on this side of the machine for now. So now this is the part of the VitiSort that's actually quite critical. It does a lot of the pre-clean on the MOG that comes in straight out of the destemmer. There's several sections, as you can see on this vibrating pan. This initial area is where the destemmer would just drop product straight onto here, or a flighted conveyor can deliver product to this area as well. These chevron bars are designed to spread the product so that the rest of the screen can be as effective as possible. There's several sections of it. This first section is designed to trap some of the sticks and stems that come in there. Leaves will get caught in these channels and stay here. This is also an area where the operator needs to maybe pay attention from time to time to clear this, pull the product off the side of the bed while it's running so that those screens can continue being effective. This next section is quite interesting. The pattern that you see here in the bed actually causes the grapes to spiral as they roll down towards the discharge end. And that has a very unique scraping effect to drop some of the seeds, loose skins perhaps, or even insects down onto the MOG screen. Once the product transitions down to the end, it just drops off like a waterfall past the inspection system. Okay, so we're just going to cover a few features on the user interface. After you turn the computer on, it'll go through a boot up sequence. You'll see several splash screens. Eventually, it'll get to the user interface, which you see here. This is one of the main default screens that it'll go to, but there's several ranges of screens that you can go to make different modifications. One of the important things people ask is, how long does it take to create a recipe? Can I just start with a recipe that's loaded? And the answer is yes. We have built into the system both red and white wine grape recipes. So if you're doing a red varietal, select red wine grape 3.30, and then you have some recipes, or if you get a brand new system, you'll have the red grape recipe and one other one, which is the hail damage recipe, available. Now the red grape recipe, you can load that right away and turn on the inspection system and be ready to run product right away. So red grape recipe actually comes with some default images that you can load and just start seeing some of the features that the imaging system can see. So we have a couple of things in this screen that you can see: background, good grapes, and then a jack and some stem, maybe some small seeds, and that could be a drop of juice that happened to drop down past with the product. This screen is the one that most people spend time on if they want to make any adjustments to affect the inspection system. The very top one is called attached stems. That one would be where there's a small stem attached to the grape. You can Generally, if you make this size parameter bigger, you allow more of those types of features into the pass stream. If you make that number smaller, you'll get more of that into the reject stream. So any of these categories, the general rule is if you make that number bigger, that desensitizes the system, allowing more fruit to end up in your pass bin. Smaller numbers mean you're going to be more critical, clean up the pass product, but reject more product down the reject stream. And very quickly, this section here allows you to make some color changes if you see that there's some adjustments that are needed. Just a quick touch of the button makes some modifications. These modifications are available with a algorithm predetermined and tuned for the red grape recipe. You can make different modifications by hand if you needed to do it on a particular set of images. So here you pick a feature, transfer the image from here over to here, and then you can manually select parts and pieces of that image and modify the recipe. Now, once you've made modifications, to save it, you just press the save button, and you can save it over the top of that one, or real quickly make up your own recipe name, save it. That way the original is still there. Now you have a modified for the particular varietal that you were running. There are other features in the user interface for maintenance and operation. Those are usually covered when our technicians show up on site to do some training. But the basics are very simple operation from one screen to be able to make adjustments on the fly. You can do this while product is running over the system. Modifications can be made very quickly, and the sort is affected immediately. No stopping is needed, and no long training to make modifications.